Hello and welcome back to the Wisconsin Gravel Cyclist. This is your host Logan. Today we're doing an overview of a race. This is the race that we did last year as a part of a stage race, except this year we just did the one race on Sunday, Four Corners 47. We're just going to start you off right with the start here. It was a nice, easy rollout on a nice, flat, red granite road. Nice little group established at the front. There were quite a few that didn't start with the front group and didn't start off as fast. Alright, so this nice rollout pace, 19 to 22 miles an hour, lasted for about the first 2 to 2.5 miles. It was just nice, easy pace line, everyone working together, no one trying to blow things up too fast. At which point in time, we knew that there was a T in the road coming up. As we approach the T in the road for our first turn here in this race, a couple individuals start to ride up the left-hand side, try to get to the front so that way they can take the best line. As we approach this turn and start to take the turn, little did everyone in the group know that this would be a freshly graded, rough road. That's where things start to split up a little bit here. As you can see, a few of us are a little bit off the back and have to try to power on and see if we can't latch back on here. We continued on this rougher gravel for a short period of time. The pace kept high, right around 22 miles an hour, which of course when you're riding on rougher terrain like this, you have to put out a little bit more power to try to keep up with the group. Now, as we take this left-hand corner, the gravel goes from rough to smooth again, at which point in time some of the people on the front of the group were able to launch forward ahead a little bit and pick the speed up, thus making it a little bit harder for those of us at the back, harder to keep up. And now, at this portion of the race, we're starting to hit some slight rises in the terrain. No real big hills or anything like that, but just enough to make you have to push a little bit harder on the hills to keep up. As we continued on with the race, we hit some great stretches of gravel road again, where we're easily cruising along at 20 to 21 miles an hour with no problems in the group here. This is one of the first mistakes that I see myself making in this race. As we come up here to this left-hand corner, the group is really stretched out, and gaps start to open up. I find myself having to put on a little bit more power to try to latch back on, as we're going up a riser. Again, not a huge hill, but enough of a riser that you have to keep the power on to try to stay in the group. I found myself off the back, and I paid for it. I had to try to get back on. At this point, I was starting to suffer a little bit, the pace was starting to get higher, people were starting to push up these slight rises. So, I found myself starting to gap off a little bit, and once we got back up onto the flat, then I was able to put some power back down and rejoin the group.
The pace when I'm running, I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
This next section here is unfortunately where I say goodbye to the lead group. The lead group went into this long, fast downhill into a sweeping right-hand turn that took us right back uphill. I was able to latch back on here and get back into some form of a draft before we started to go back up the hill, but my heart rate was unfortunately too far gone. It would be at this point in time where I really just needed to settle into my own race and then start enjoying the day. So, at this time, I decided just to break out some gels, take some drinks of water, and recuperate a little bit. I ended up staying with the guy in front of me for a little bit before he ended up dropping off. It wasn't much farther down the road, though, where I'd find myself with another individual in front of me. Then I went into TT mode to try to catch him. Here's a section on the road where I really was putting down the power on a flat road trying to catch up with him. You can't quite see him. He had just turned left up ahead of me, but he was in my sights and I was tracking him down. While still on pavement, I was able to keep my speed high in the mid to low 20-mile-an-hour range. Before we knew it, I was turned back on the gravel, and I had him in my sights. He was right there for the taking. All I had to do was catch him. And catch him I did. Enter Bob. Bob and I ended up riding the rest of the ride together, trading off turns, having good conversation, and just enjoying some gravel racing. And this would be our race for the next 20 miles or so. Bob and I trading off turns, riding gravel the way it's meant to be, enjoying it, out in nature, hoping that we don't get caught by the group behind us. Overall, I definitely learned a few things from my second round at the Four Corners 47. First of all, as long as the race starts slower, I'll be okay. I just need to get in my own groove and ride hard, sitting with a group that I know I'm comfortable with, and it's all going to turn out okay. Of course, gravel race wouldn't be complete without an equipment breakdown. I rode my Trek checkpoint with a GRX 2x. The setup, I just ran a little saddlebag on the back with my Wahoo bolt mount on front and 2 water bottle cages. I ran Bontrager Aeolus Pro 3V wheels with Pirelli Cinturato Gravel H tires. This setup was absolutely great for the Four Corners 47 on this fast-rolling red granite gravel. For these Pirelli Cinturato Gravel H tires, in a size 40mm, I ran 39 psi in the rear and 37 in the front, and had no traction issues or any issues with confidence on this terrain whatsoever. last but not least, we made it to the finish. We ended up finishing 12th overall with a time of 2 hours 47 minutes and 48 seconds. Not too bad for my first gravel race of the year and my second attempt at the Four Corners 47. Overall, it was a great race. There's not a whole lot that I would ask that they change. They had great food at the end with some beverages and things of that nature for all the racers. It was a great time. It was great. There were great groups of racers. There was teams such as Stoic, Griffon, Velo, all from the state of Wisconsin. Also some individuals from Minnesota and throughout the Midwest. I highly recommend that if you ever get a chance to stop in central Wisconsin in July, stop in, ride the Four Corners 47. They also have a 95-mile race as well, the Burger 95. Overall, highly recommended. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wisconsin Gravel Cyclist. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and let's go for a ride.